All right. Good morning, Jamf Nation. Welcome to this episode of Jamf Breakfast Club. I'm Dr. Emily Froese, and I'm coming to you live with a great group of folks here in the great state of Texas, except for Ashley. She's coming to you live from Kansas, and that's okay. We still love her. But we're coming here to talk to you today to share a story from Texas A&M University here in the, again, great state of Texas. We're going to hear a little bit about their story in our session entitled Achieving More with Enhanced Efficiency. So I know I've already introduced myself, and I've already told you that Ashley is my co-host today, but John, Stephen, you want to introduce yourselves really quick?
Yeah, I can start off. My name's Stephen Johnson. I'm the IT manager for the Unified Apple Device Management team. I'm a Jamf certified expert. My team consists of 5 Jamf certified admins and experts. Collectively, we have over 20 years of Jamf experience. I myself have been working for A&M for over 10 years now. I started out as a student worker in IT at the School of Architecture. And then when I graduated, I joined full time.
Yep, and howdy, I'm John Griffey. I am the director for Unified Endpoint Management at Texas A&M. I've served the university for the last 22 years in a variety of technical leadership roles, including client support, IT service desk, and the last 4 years have been focused on endpoint management. I graduated from A&M and never wanted to leave, so I'm still here.
Seems to be a theme with you Aggies. You graduate and you come back and you serve the university. And I love that.
It's a great city. It's a great campus. We love it.
Absolutely love that. And I am excited to share that this is our first High Ed Jamf Breakfast Club. So very excited to have you guys. No pressure. You're setting the standard. But with that, Ashley, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on here today as well. You couldn't ask for a better team here sitting from Texas A&M. So John, Stephen, just awesome to be able to do this with you all today. Let's just dive right in because we're here to talk about an awesome project that you all have been doing for the last, really, you've been working on it for a couple of years now, and you're really in the thick of it right now. But you have all been working on this really cool unification project. Would you mind just telling us a little bit about some of the pain points you were hoping to solve by deciding to centralize and kind of what that journey's looked like over the last few years?
Yeah, absolutely. It has been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, I think, leading up to kind of where we are today. And for those that don't know, A&M is the largest public university in the country. We serve over 75,000 students and 10,000 faculty and staff across the state of Texas and the world. We have campuses from Dallas, Fort Worth, down to McAllen, and even as far-reaching as Qatar. And our teams are responsible for the workstation endpoints on the main campus in College Station, as well as the School of Law in Fort Worth, and the 8 other campuses statewide that make up our Health Science Center. So we've got about 75,000 Apple devices and 45,000 Windows workstations that we have to worry about. And unification really started as a strategic, university-wide strategic effort to consolidate the operations on campus. HR and facilities, IT is included in that. And so we started that last September by unifying all of IT into a single organization called the Division of Technology Services. And since then, we've set out to try to change the way IT services are delivered to campus through a kind of a unique vision by our CIO. It's a design, build, operate, and support model. With a mission to provide robust, secure, and innovative IT environments that support our university's goals in teaching, research, and service. And with that new model, we created a new vertical called Enterprise Operations, created the Apple Device Management team specifically for this unification. And as we looked at our campus and having a history of distributed IT across campus, and each group doing their own thing and doing their best to manage their devices, we realized that unification was inevitable, and we needed to really get the support and the funding to just go forth and do it. And so we set out to do that. And actually, one of the biggest things that I think kind of was a catalyst for this is we started as the central IT organization on campus that was responsible for enterprise IT, so not distributed IT, but enterprise IT, and have been Jamf customers for the last 4 years or so. And when we decided to unify, we wanted to build on that, and we started looking at how could we unify using Jamf. Started working with Ashley on the idea and the vision behind it, and building on our longstanding relationship. Stephen is going to talk a little bit later about this, but 18 different Jamf instances across campus. It's a lot of redundant work and effort and tooling and everything else. And so, we said we can do this, I think, with a single Jamf unified instance, and took forward the idea to our CIO, got support and funding, and we decided to invest in Jamf Pro Premium Cloud, Jamf Connect, and Protect. And we built this single environment to manage all the devices. And so the ecosystem of tools was really critical to us, because we wanted to not only consolidate everything, but we wanted to reimagine what device management looked like, right? We wanted to make it better. At the end of the day, we serve faculty, staff, and students, and we want their computing experience to be enhanced, and level of excellence that we try to set for all the services we deliver. So through that, we decided to partner not only with Jamf, but with one of Jamf's gold partners, Mesa. They helped us build this custom migration workflow for migrating off of all of these different instances, and to automate just as much as possible. We're, as I said, very large. We serve a lot of different people and devices, and trying to do this at scale is very challenging without automation. And so that was really important to us. And I think one of the things that was kind of secondary, but almost as important to us to get started, was developing an early adoption program. This was a program that we set out for it to be completely voluntary. We wanted to, have representatives from a cross section of faculty, administrators, researchers, IT professionals from all of the colleges and business units. The idea was to engage campus members who were willing to give us honest feedback, so that we could modify the workflows before rolling it out to the rest of campus, and make sure that it was a smooth experience for everybody involved. Oftentimes, I think IT initiatives on campuses in higher ed, and that was really important to us. And so the early adoption program really was kind of our first effort towards establishing that with our campus members with this initiative. I believe that, we're not only responsible for device compliance and data security and all those IT type things, but we're equally responsible for creating a positive user experience. And so, no one likes dealing with IT issues all the time. And certainly if management tools and things like that are getting in the way or being disruptive, or not helping you to do your job, then it's very difficult to be productive or effective. And at the end of the day, IT is here to serve and promote the mission of the university. So after several months of kind of working through our early adoption phase, we kind of methodically migrating devices and collecting feedback. We made significant changes to the workflows to address issues. And we as much planning as you do, you can never anticipate all of the things that are out there in a complex environment like ours. And the early adoption program really helped us pull some of that out ahead of time, so we could make adjustments. I think that one of the things that we recognize and we think about all the time in the university environment is, we're more like a small city than a single organization. And so this was something that as we were going through the assessments and the early adoption phase, we realized there's a lot of teams out there that are doing their best to support us and to support their users and their devices, but they just didn't have the skills or the funding or the time to learn how to do it effectively. And so that led to us investing in training, and the Jamf training, thanks to Ashley's help in making this possible, we were able to bring several cohorts and host several cohorts on campus for Jamf training over the last year. We've certified dozens of IT professionals since last August. And actually, one of the most exciting things is one of the most recent cohorts in June. All 12 participants of a Jamf 200 class all achieved certifications, which was really cool. And I heard is kind of rare. The instructor who taught it said, I've never seen that before. And so it goes to show not only how passionate we are about doing IT well, but our commitment to making sure that the folks that are out there supporting it have the tools and the resources they need to do it and do it well is just that much more important. And so that kind of accelerated their ability, equipping them to be more effective in responding to calls and escalating issues, because they're able to identify things a little bit quicker. And certainly our unified team is really the core of the expertise, but we're seeing, feel like every month, more and more IT pros across campus just not only gaining more skills managing devices with Jamf, but kind of more interest in going further. I had one student who came out of the Jamf 200 with no plans to go to 300 and was like, if there's a spot, I want a spot. And, I thought that was really cool. I was like, yeah, absolutely. We'll fit you in. We'll get you in there. So we've had a lot of really great experiences going through something that is, very ambitious, as I think is the best way to say it. And very proud of the team, proud of all of our partners across campus who have helped us get to where we're at today. But yeah, that's a little bit about our journey.
Well, and John, you forgot to say too, the other thing that's really cool about all the certifications and trainings that you've all done is you're also the first organization to host a private 370. So
yes,
that's a first, and that's really cool.
Yeah. And, the cool thing about that is, we talk about Jamf and device management and endpoint support and all of these things. And, we've seen in IT, especially in higher ed, kind of this gradual overlap with IT security and the things that we do on the device management side. And Jamf 370 really was something that was important to my team, but it was something that was kind of lost on the radar of our SecOps teams. And so through this project, we kind of looped them in and said, hey, there's a lot of opportunity here for you and your teams to get more expertise on how to do max security through training like Jamf 370. And so we set up a call and had some IT security folks from the Jamf side kind of present some of the things that Protect offers and shows them the cool tool, the tool itself and how that resonates in the IT security world. And they ate it up and wanted to be a part of the 370 training. And so we're excited to have them now kind of into the fold. And that just goes further into our unification efforts to try to build on this kind of one IT idea of that we're employing now, and excited to see kind of what comes of that.
I absolutely love your approach to how it's not just you and Stephen doing all of the work. You're empowering others. The numbers that you shared earlier, there's no way, if you still want to sleep, eat, and like have a social life, you could tackle all of those campuses across the globe. But I love the idea of, empowering your students to get certified, but your idea of getting volunteers and having cohorts and all that sort of stuff, like, people want that increased productivity, right? And so it sounds like you've had the gift of having people like step up and do those next steps. So that's awesome. You definitely touched on my next question, but I'm going to turn to Stephen for this one. So what are some very specific strategies you've used for increasing productivity and kind of decreasing that overhead, if you're able to share that?
Yeah. So one of the first things my team did along with Mesa is we conducted assessments on those 18 servers. We wanted to look and see what was being done there, any specific use cases, if their devices were doing something, kind of interesting that we needed to account for, both in the migration and just in endpoint management. But we also wanted to look for duplicated efforts, like John had mentioned. We didn't really need 18 different versions of Chrome being deployed. We just need one. So we approached our unified Jamf tenant with the idea of sort of 2 tiers of policies and configuration profiles, ones that are applied globally to all devices, and then ones that are applied just to the sites that we had developed and sort of planned out for these departments to fit into. I mentioned Chrome, things like Creative Cloud or Cisco AnyConnect or Zoom. We just have one global policy that goes out. Everybody gets it. Based off those assessments, we didn't find, specific, nobody was running a very hyper specific version. So they get that. And those are all patched at a global level too by my team. So the local support doesn't really have to worry about trying to maintain Zoom updates and Chrome updates because they happen every day, and that you don't have enough time. So we take that off their plate, and that gives them more time to focus on the specific tasks that their department might be doing. Research programs or applications, things like that. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, my next question is for both of you. You touched on securing devices and that sort of thing and privacy. But my next question is, talk to us a little bit about the measures that you've taken to secure sensitive data and protect devices.
Yeah, I can start off. So we're deploying, various security applications and, security tools. Just recently, as of last week, we started deploying Proofpoint as our data loss protection solution. At the start of the project, we decided to use SAP privileges for our endpoint privilege management. And we also use CrowdStrike Falcon and Jamf Protect to function as our endpoint protection tools. Like John had mentioned, we're partnering with our security operations team to, build out Jamf Protect.
We actually had a call today, a Jamf Pro Service engagement with our SecOps team, and kind of walked through our Protect environment and started brainstorming the kind of the base level things that we want Protect to do for us, and even think ahead about how we want to mature that and some of the things we want to do to further protect the university and its sensitive data. I mean, as you can probably imagine, for any university environment, but especially a tier 1 research institution like Texas A&M, we are targeted a lot. I will just say that, and our SecOps team stays busy. And so the more tools we can have to give us the visibility that we need, and then of course, harkening back to lean IT teams, it's really important that we find ways to automate the things that we do. And the telemetry we get from Protect is fantastic. We've never had it before on our Apple devices. None of our other tools give us exactly what Protect does. And so it's really filled a hole for us from a security perspective. And then just the ability to integrate that with Jamf Pro and start building on the types of things and actions we want to take using Jamf Pro for when something anomalous happens on a device that seems strange. Either we can investigate it, take no action, and just be aware of it through an alert, or maybe it's something we just don't want to have. We were having a conversation today in the call where certain export controls to certain countries are kind of a thing we have to monitor for the university. And so how great would it be to be able to automatically lock a device or wipe a device if it pops up in a country that we don't want devices showing up in. So it's things like that I think we are venturing down to, again, just enhance what we're doing and the services we're providing to the university to both protect the data and the devices and improve the user experience as well as best we can with all those tools doing what they do.
Awesome. Thank you.
I think it's amazing too, working with so many organizations in the higher ed space, you don't see a lot of overlap with IT and security. And there really needs to be communication there, and there needs to be collaboration. And so the fact that your InfoSec team is so involved with how you're rolling this project out and kind of what that security aspect looks like, I mean, that's only going to make this project more successful and get you guys on the same front so that you are able to reduce those threat risks and be able to remediate when needed, and be a team to just really have that communication established and that understanding of what each of your roles are in order to really secure and protect those Apple devices. So it's really, really awesome and something that we need to hear more of in this space.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I give all the credit to kind of our relatively new CISO. He's been here a while in different roles in our organization, but Adam Michael has always been an advocate of collaboration, and I've worked with Adam for a long time, and it all starts there. And kind of when he took over that role, I think it really helped propel this idea of how do we integrate these things and how do we think more just in general about where security operations and endpoint operations overlap and how can we make that more seamless, right? And he's got a great team, and we're starting to work with them more and more. But I'd love to hear from other higher ed peers how they're trying to tackle this, because I know historically here at A&M, there's always been kind of that divide, and it's been very challenging. And it's really great to see the divide start to dissolve a little bit. So,
well, awesome. Well, I know this is a kind of a never-ending project. You've done a lot of the hard stuff, a lot of the planning and, figuring out how this process was going to work. And I know you're still working on getting those devices all moved over to the new tenant. But up to this point, what success have you found, or what are some of the things that have surprised you of how this project has gone, and kind of what that also then looks like for potential successes in the future?
Yeah. I know for me, I've heard from multiple people and just kind of seen it with the enthusiasm of the migration is a lot of departments used to be pretty apprehensive on buying Apple devices, whether it was a limitation of their ability to manage it. They were always a little gun shy. But with the unification project, a lot of those walls have been broken down. They've seen the success, and they've heard how easy the management is, and just the fantastic user experience the campus member gets. And so we've seen a lot more departments start to encourage, or at least provide the option for faculty and staff to just purchase MacBooks or an iMac for their device. Also, along with that, like John had mentioned earlier, the early adopter program, I think, really, really paved the way for a lot of our success with the full migration project. I'm a firm believer that word of mouth success is the most effective. We did a lot of communication with the teams, and everybody knows that emails kind of can only go so far. But for the campus members and just the different staff that were about to go through migration, those early adopters, they were really able to provide good word of mouth of how easy it was. 10 minutes maybe, and after that you get your admin rights, you get applications on demand. It removes all the pain points of, previously using a Mac, between departments.
Yeah, I'll echo that. We set up some really cool feedback mechanisms within our deployments, the migrations themselves, the enrollment process, as well as kind of post migration, just as part of our device management stack. And it's funny because we received, this was a few weeks ago, but we received some feedback from somebody through the survey that was like, your self-service is awesome. We love it. All the apps that you have now, if you could just duplicate this for our Windows devices, we'd be very happy. And, the funny thing about that is we're about to embark as a separate team, I'm not putting Stephen through another unification, but a completely separate team is going to be starting Windows unification. And so that was the other thing I think that, we here within technology services, you would hear the term that this project was the tip of the spear for a lot of the things that we were doing. And it really is, because it's going to kind of set the tone and the stage of not only kind of how we do unification with Windows devices, but the lessons learned from this project and how we can do it better, right? And our early adopters absolutely continue to give us feedback every day of how we can make things better. And that's that engagement I was talking about before that, you might get at a faculty senate meeting if you're there and they're in front of you, but how do you get that feedback consistently and continuously day to day? And so we really hope that evolves and continues to grow so that we can just make better decisions of what our users need and how we can better serve them. And so very excited that that's kind of starting and taking hold a little bit. But, we've kind of gotten towards the end of some of our device unification efforts, and but our journey kind of has just started. I told everybody in a lot of the early meetings that once unification is done, that's kind of just the beginning. And it really is, because it now enables us to do so much more than we could when everything was distributed. And as a higher ed institution, I mentioned it before, just being spread out all over the state and all over the world and all of that, it just is very hard to do that with so many separate instances that are trying to maintain the same level of service. And so the team's already working on goals we've set for the next 9 to 12 months, including bringing all of the Apple devices up to the latest supported version of macOS, expanding on the over 100 available managed apps in self-service, and beta testing Sonoma to ensure it's available on release day. And, we continue to workshop innovative ways to automate through Jamf, and we're always looking forward to seeing how declarative device management will enhance our capabilities. So a lot of things really coming down the road for this team that just got back from Mac Admins Conference and had a lot of great takeaways there to share and networking. And we're just looking forward to more of that at JNUC. And so we'll have the team there. We're really excited about it. At the end of the day, I feel like, if you're doing device management right, you should ensure healthy, secure, but elevated computing experience for everybody. So that's kind of what we're aiming to do. And, we're excited just to build on the success of the unification. And we'll be at JNUC if anybody's interested. Ashley and Stephen and I will present kind of more on our strategy and dive a little deeper on the specifics and how we did it. And then Stephen's team is going to talk a lot about the technical parts of the migration efforts and some of the cool tools that we've implemented and the way we've done it. I can't go away from this without mentioning just the innovative approach that one of our Stephen's team members, Andrew Barnett, I feel like this guy is just constantly innovating and coming up with new ways to do something better. And y'all get to see some of that at the conference. So excited to meet everybody and to collaborate as much as possible.
Well, awesome. I love that you plugged JNUC. I'm gonna talk about that here in a second, but I do want to remind both of you that Ashley and I have both marked our calendars to have a conversation 1 year from now to ask you all of those questions you just went over, because like you, we want to hear how you grew. What were some of your continued pain points? What did you discover? How are you growing? That sort of thing. Because you've got a really good thing going. And I love the analogy of just the tip of the spear. Like, I've been watching all these like survival shows. I know that arrow is very long. So super excited to hear how your journey continues. But on the topic of JNUC, I do want to mention that the members of this team will be doing a session. It's actually session 1235, Mechanics of a Migration. It'll be Stephen and his team. And then there is Apple Device Management Unification at Texas A&M University, which will be this entire team, minus me. I'll be in the audience, but it'll be Ashley, John, and Stephen leading that session. And then Ashley will be leading a high ed panel where we'll have some friends from other universities joining us to talk about kind of what's going on their campuses. So we'd love for you to join us for those. That panel number is 1194. If you don't know what JNUC is, what is this, tomfoolery she's speaking about? That is our largest gathering of Jamf users nationwide, globally, actually. There are international friends that come over for this, and it's going to be in Austin, Texas. JNUC will be held September 19th through the 21st in Austin, Texas, and we will drop that information, into the chat during our Q&A. So I'm going to hand it back to Ashley.
Yeah, well, just wanted to say thank you again, everyone, for taking time out of your day to sit and join the first ever High Ed Jamf Breakfast Club. And a special thank you to John and Stephen for just being so open about this project and, genuinely wanting to pass on some of the wisdom and experiences that you had to other organizations that would benefit from a similar project. So thank you for all the energy and the partnership that we've had over the last couple of years. I truly cannot tell you how fun it has been to get to know your team, to be a part of this project, and really just see the amazing things you continue to do every day. So thank you both so much for being here. And Em, thanks for setting this up for all of us. This has been really fun, and we all had a lot of jitters before getting on, but I think this was great. And I can't wait for next year's session on the 2.0, or what we were joking about before, John, the supper club.
Yeah.
So
there you go, supper club. We're gonna make it a thing. We'll see.
There you go. Well, you guys did great. I'm going to echo what Ashley said. Being our first high ed group, you knocked it out of the park. So if you ever want to, record a webinar, just hit me with an email and we'll come up with something. But with that, we're going to slide over to question and answer. So if you have any questions for our panel members here today, please post those in the chat and we can answer them right now. So again, thank you, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks.